Welcome back, everybody. This is Zach with New Angle Sports Talk. Today, we're going to be recapping Game 4 of the Thunder Blazers game, and as usual, like the last couple games that I've reviewed of this series, has been so much fun to watch. Honestly, now the first two games they weren't that competitive, and Game 3 was a thriller from the get go. Like I said in our previous video, if you haven't checked it out, even though the game's already been done, you should go and still watch it anyways. But from the get-go, this game was also really fun as well, too. Early on, now there's not much backstory with this one. If you saw my other video, you kind of know what's led up to this point as well, too, in the series. And like I said, if you haven't, go check it out real quick. But early in this game, Billy Donovan gets a really quick technical foul within the first 2 minutes of the game and kind of sets the tone. Like, he's not, he wants his team to be pumped up. I think it was kind of silly, honestly, in my opinion. However, it pumped up the crowd. It continued to pump up the players as well too, and we'll kind of see how that translated in this game as well too. Both teams started off really fast. However, they kind of got it done in different ways. So the Portland Trailblazers had 10 fast break points to OKC 0. But it was still a pretty close game in the first quarter itself. They just did it differently. Like, the Thunder kind of slowed things down. They ran their offense. They ran those pick and rolls. And that was one of the ways that Paul George and Russell Westbrook were able to stay efficient during that first quarter. Paul George did have 7 of the first 10 points for the Thunder. So they kind of worked their offense through their stars, slowed down the game, ran some pick and rolls, got some corner threes out of it, things like that as well too. The Trailblazers, though, like I said, they started off fast with fast break points, 10 fast break points to OKC 0. And but one thing that I've been noticing as a trend, if you've been watching, especially the first quarter, maybe the first 2 quarters really, in this series, is Damian Lillard has not gotten off on a good start on like any of the games. That obviously translates later on in the game, but in the first quarter, Lillard only had about 2 points, and that was it. Now, jumping over to the second quarter, Paul George does get his third foul with 9 minutes, 13 seconds left in the quarter. I wanted to kind of mention that again because, again, trending, one of the trends that have been in some of these playoff games, which is, again, to be expected, is foul trouble with your stars. They need to play more efficiently, but you'll see later on in this game, it didn't make a huge difference. Paul George does miss a little bit of time in the second and third quarter, maybe because of that. However, I felt like when he was on the court, he was still remaining very aggressive, and he didn't let his foul trouble kind of dictate his game style, his play style throughout the rest of the night. Now, one really, 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 really fun thing that I enjoyed this game is Lillard and Russell Westbrook. So they were going at each other, and they were guarding each other constantly. Now, that's kind of happened this entire series, but if you go back and think about it in some of the other series that like have been big time series in the past, like maybe the Thunder Warriors, typically Russell Westbrook and Steph Curry don't always guard each other. Now, you've had in the past Andre Roberson, who's been healthy, so he kind of takes that assignment for you, and that's totally fine. But it was fun to see a full series so far to this point where the 2 best players, which are your point guards, Damian Lillard and Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, I think Russell's better than Paul George, but you have the 2 best players for the majority of the game playing up against each other, and you kind of get to see that back and forth, so to speak. Now, really, Russell Westbrook, though, from in the second quarter, in the first quarter as well too, he was really taking the matchup and running with it. He had some really great assists to Jeremy Grant and Raymond Felton for big threes. Westbrook hit 2 really big mid-range shots. They were kind of like Kobe shots, where he squares up, rises up above the defender, and he hits it. And then lastly, one of the big plays that he had as well too, one of the big shots he had too, was a 3 over Damian Lillard. Again, that got the crowd pumping, and it was fun to see him. Damian Lillard didn't really jump, but that's totally fine. Like, Russell Westbrook still kind of gave him that little hesitated, a little pump fake a little bit, and just rose up above him and just shot right over him, essentially from that point, and he made it. So that was fun to see as well too. Now, at this point, when Russell Westbrook had kind of went off on this, Terry Stotts had called a good timeout at that point. I think there was like 2.5 minutes left in the half, and he really kind of brought his team back together, because right after that timeout, Russell Westbrook has a turnover. He takes 2 really bad shots. Lillard hits a really nice clutch mid-range shot. I think it was over Russell Westbrook, if I remember correctly. C.J. McCollum had a big 3 over Steven Adams. Lillard made another big 3 over Schroeder, and also Cantor had a huge block on Russell Westbrook as well too, to kind of in the half. Oh, and there's one more thing. Aminu had hit a corner 3 right at the end of the half, actually. Like, it was like the last shot the Trailblazers took, hit a big time 3 just to end the half there at that point. Swinging over back to the third quarter again. Been the best quarter out of this entire series. Is if you want to just go watch the third quarters of this series, you've got 4 quarters now, 4 different third quarters is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me. If you just went and watched the third quarters, you would be very, very heavily entertained because this is where all the teams, one team ends up either crumbling or one team ends up, the other teams ends up, excelling or vice versa or whatever it is. This one was no different as well. Damian Lillard comes out and he hits 2 big time threes to kind of get the whole avalanche rolling, if you will, and that leads Billy Donovan to call his quick timeout in the second half as well. Now, one good thing though, at least at the start of the third quarter, is the Thunder were still playing really swarming defense. They were playing tough defense. They had a lot of good rebounds, a lot of tip passes as well too. When the Trailblazers tried to pass over them or pass around them, they did a good job as far as keeping their hands up and being ready and anticipating those passes. Now the Blazers did go on though to have a 19-4 run kind of towards the end of the third quarter. Paul George did hit a really big 3 to kind of mitigate the run that they had just been on. He kind of did a little bit of damage control by hitting that 3 and kind of giving them something to kind of build on to go into the fourth quarter, which again was also very highly contested as well too. Now, starting fourth quarter, probably my favorite shot of the entire game was CJ McCollum hit a huge 3. Again, you're going to see this on the replay. I might be going a little bit too fast, but you'll see it all on there when you're watching this as well too. But I really like this 3 by CJ McCollum because it's really rainbow-like. Essentially, he hit this rainbow and just like it was just smooth. It looked nice. I wanted to kind of point that out as well too. But the reason why I wanted to point this out so much is because at this point in the time, Damian Lillard was on the bench at this point, and I believe this was around the 11-minute marker left in the fourth quarter. Here's my thing with CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum, maybe he's not the biggest star, maybe he's not a superstar, but he's somebody you can trust to run the offense, and he's not even on the bench either. Like, he's not even a bench player. He's not even a six man or anything. He's obviously a starting shooting guard in this league. But you can, because of his offensive ability and his 3-point shooting ability, and also good defense, good hustle, good chemistry. He's just a good guy, just in general. You can trust him to kind of run your offense when Damian Lillard needs a second to rest. Now, Damian Lillard did get 15 points in the third quarter, and he was just crushing it. So they gave him some time to rest, and you got to let CJ McCollum kind of do his thing and kind of again keep a lead going and not have to rely on Damian Lillard so much more when he got back. Obviously, CJ McCollum is an established shooting guard in this league, and he's proving it, especially in this playoffs as well. Now, about the 9-minute 40-second seconds left in the fourth quarter, Nerlens Noel did have a huge block on Aminu, who was trying to go up for, I think it was an alley-oop if I remember correctly, and totally got swatted, got totally rejected by Nerlens Noel. Probably the defensive play of the entire game, maybe up to that series, because it just looks smooth from the get-go. Now, CJ McCollum, he hit right after that. He hit another big 3. Damian Lillard still sitting on the bench at this point, and again, you're still trusting him to keep on running your offense and keeping it going from there. Now, we're going to kind of skip towards the end. I know the highlights may not have been caught up yet at this point, but something that I also really want to talk about as well, too, from here is the last, I think a minute left or 2 minutes left in the game. Thunder were down, and Lillard throws this pass right to Mo Harkless. Again, Mo Harkless is just right underneath the basket. In this zone, Russell Westbrook is basically guarding the paint at this point. His man, though, in this situation is Mo Harkless, and he's looking. If you watch the play again, you're going to see Russell Westbrook playing it, and he's doing good up until the release of the pass from Damian Lillard. The point I'm trying to make here is that Russell Westbrook, if he's locked in on defense with a minute left to go in this game, if he's in position to get this ball, he can steal this ball. If you look at the replay, you can see it. But it looks like he just kind of takes his eye off of it for a split second, and in that split second, Damian Lillard gets the ball to Mo Harkless for an easy 2 points at that point. That really kind of iced the game, in my opinion. The Thunder were kind of going on these runs where they were making ground, and then they just couldn't get the stop, or they got the stop, and then they just couldn't get a bucket to fall or whatever. But that play specifically really, really iced the game, and it kind of sealed it for them at that point, because if you couldn't get the steal, you have to start fouling at this point, and it just didn't work out. So as you can see from these highlights now, it looks like the Blazers, they did win the game 111-98 in OKC for Game 4. Big time Game 5 coming up. I mean, it's a 3-1 deficit now for the Thunder. Do you guys think that they can come out of this and win this, still coming back from 3-1, or do you think it's something that it's too late? Maybe they could do it with a Kevin Durant or a better shooter or something like that. But do you think Russell Westbrook has what it takes to make this 3-1 comeback, or do you think that they're out in either Game 5 or Game 6? Now, having said all of that, I feel like every time I say that, I sound like Stephen A. Smith whenever you're listening to him on First Take. But having said all of that, that's pretty much the recap, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. But there's something that I would like to introduce to everybody that's listening here is a new startup that's being formed by my cousin called The Grindco. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a killer name and all, but what exactly does that mean? And what is it exactly? So the Grindco is all about you pursuing your health through fitness and nutrition. So your health goals through fitness and nutrition, and also your personal development as well too. So in the grind, what does that mean exactly? What does it mean to be in the grind? Well, we all have busy jobs. We have kids that keep us busy. We have other things that take up our time throughout the week. In the grind is referring to that daily grind, finding time to do things that's important to you, whether it's a hobby, whether it's your personal finances, whether it's your personal physical goals like working out, nutrition, and things like that. This company is going to be designed to help you with your specific fitness goals and your nutrition goals that you have in your life. In this program, you're going to be working with Jason on the fitness aspect of it, so workouts and things like that, and a workout regimen, but also a nutrition one as well too. So my biggest problem when I work out is I can't always adjust, or I don't always adjust, rather, my nutrition to kind of keep up with the workouts that I do. So I slack off on eating, and I get discouraged because my results aren't coming in when I'm working out and things like that. So you end up quitting early and things like that. So this company here is going to specifically help you in what you need. So what do you need? He's going to set you up with a plan for nutrition, a plan for working out, and things like that. I'll be using it myself. The nutrition is really the biggest part that I'm going to be using to take advantage of it, so I can keep working on where I need to be at for my goals as well too. Now, if you're interested, leave a comment below. Let us know if you're interested, and also keep watching the videos for more updates on things to come. When we get more information, we'll relay it out to you guys, and give you kind of some update on that as well too. So with all of that being said, like always, guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be out tomorrow to give you another video. I probably am not going to be doing I think it's the Bucks Pistons game that's coming on tomorrow. I'm probably not going to do that one, but I will do the one after that, the Utah Jazz and the Rockets one. And that one's been a fun series, so I'll have that one out for you guys tomorrow. We'll see you then.